Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Eddie West Field, located in historic downtown Santa Ana, as we get set for another edition of Don's Football this Saturday evening. After a much-needed bye week, Santa Ana College returns to action with a conference match against the Mounties of Mount San Antonio College. Hello, everyone. My name is Noah Alvarez. Thanks for tuning in to the Santa Ana College Athletics YouTube channel, wherever you may be tuning in from. The Dons are still searching for their first victory of the 2025 season, after an 0-5 start to the year. Despite the record, there has been quite a few bright spots for Santa Ana College. The freshman trio of Deacon Moss, Wallace Filemu, and Josh Patton have been standouts in their first year. The Dons clawed back from a 17-point deficit versus 13th-ranked Citrus College to only lose by 6 2 weeks ago, and the Dons' rushing attack has now produced 3 straight games with 100 or more rushing yards. So a handful of encouraging signs for first-year head coach Simon Fuentes and the rest of the Dons coaching staff. However, they'll have one of their toughest tests of the season tonight as they face one of the best programs in all of California. The visiting Mounties travel from the city of Walnut, about a 30-minute drive with some light traffic, and they enter with a 4-1 record on the season. That one loss was to conference opponent Citrus College, who the Dons saw last, and it was one of the bigger upsets in the 3C2A season. The Mounties hadn't lost to the Citrus Owls in 30-plus years, and puts Mount San Antonio College at risk of missing the playoffs for the first time since 2018. Mount SAC has been one of the best programs in the state of California this century, thanks to 21st-year head coach Bob Jastrub. He has led his Mounties program to 3 state championships during his tenure, tied for the second most during that time frame. Only City College of San Francisco, with 4 state championships, has more since 2005. The last time these two programs met was back in 2007. Jeff Jones was the head coach of the Dons at the time. It was the last year that they played in the Mission Conference, and Crank That by Soulja Boy Tell 'Em was the #1 song on the Billboard charts. A different time to say the least. Mount SAC came out victorious in that contest by a final score of 45-16. The last time the Dons beat the Mounties in football came back in 1990. So before I'm sure some of you were born. They defeated the Mounties 37-16. Again, that was the last time the Dons defeated Mount SAC early on in the 1990 season when Dave Ogos was still the head coach here of the Santa Ana Dons. They were still referred to as the Rancho Santiago College program. They still played here at the Eddie West Field, but it was all grass back then, and it was a field that was shared among a lot of the high schools. When talking with head coach Simon Fuentes, who played here for Santa Ana College in the years 1993 and 1994, he mentioned and recalled how messy this field would get with the natural grass and sharing among so many different high schools, the Saddlebacks, the Centuries, the Modern Days of the world. And then to play Saturdays, you would have the grass all torn up, especially in the middle of the field. It'd be a giant mud bowl, especially towards the later end of the year when the temperatures got a bit cooler. We'll cut to a break for the national anthem. When we return, some keys to the game, as well as opening kickoff. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back after this. Back from commercial break, I'm Noah Alvarez as your Santa Ana Dons get ready to take on the Mounties of Mount San Antonio College. Let's go over some keys to the game for Santa Ana tonight. As you see, the captains lined up at midfield with the officiating crew. On offense, for the Dons, they have to not only sustain long drives to keep the ball away from the Mounties offense, but they have to finish those drives too. They're among one of the worst in the state in red zone efficiency. Only 6 touchdowns in 16 trips, along with 4 field goals. So they'll have to be better in that category. Last time they played here against Citrus College, they had 4 drives stall out in Citrus territory, 2 to the interception, and 2 turnover on down. So Santa Ana will have to be cleaner in that category if they hope to keep things close against Mount SAC. On defense, the Dons have to sell out to stop the Mounties' run game. Even though Mount SAC, you'll see a lot of spread formations on offense, they're very reliant on the ground game, averaging 185 yards per game. If the Dons can turn the Mounties into a one-dimensional team, they may disrupt their flow to the offense. Dons won the coin toss, elect to defer, and Mount SAC will start with the ball first. Captains this evening for both squads, as you see them part ways to their sideline. Quarterback Dante Bell, one of the captains in there for Mount SAC, along with Najee Richardson, sophomore linebacker from Aubrey, Texas. There's a theme that we're going to mention throughout the broadcast. Mount SAC, they recruit a heavy dosage of out-of-state players. Also in as a captain is David Medellin, one of the defensive linemen that will call, I'm sure, a lot in tonight's contest. And then number 79, Harione Melioi. He's an offensive lineman, starts at right tackle for Mount SAC. Captains for your Santa Ana Dons were Malik Pia, Mac Wolf. First time we're seeing Mitchell Jones, the Air Force Academy, bounce back as a captain this season for the Santa Ana Dons. Mount SAC is 4-1. They're 1-1 in conference play. The Dons 0-5, 0-2. Lucas Raya has this one on the tee, ready to kick this one away. Over here to the near side, it'll be a chance for Mount SAC on the return. Past the 25, he runs into a few Dons defenders right at the 30, and that's where the first drive will start for Mount SAC. Jordan Harris on the return. Thanks again for tuning into Dons Football here on the Santa Ana College Athletics YouTube channel. My name is Noah Alvarez. Dons only have 2 more home games remaining on the season. Tonight and in 2 weeks, they host Ventura College. Kickoff set at 1 p.m. We see the first of Dante Bell, the sophomore quarterback, a transfer from ELAC, East Los Angeles College, who we saw earlier this year. Dons start with their 4-2-5 defensive look. They motion Aiden Ramos into the backfield to Dante Bell's right. Short pass to the near side, across the 35 and down at the 37. It's a catch by receiver R.J. Willis, a sophomore from Corona. Dons will roll with that 4-2-5 look. Porter Nix and Riker Scott are the 2 defensive ends. We're going to see new defensive linemen today. Mario Evans and Jordan Armijo get the start at defensive tackle. Quick pass one more time to Willis on the near side across the 40. Chopped down at the 44. Matthew Gill in there on the tackle, along with Caden Thomas, who now wears 31 on the year. Seen him play linebacker in previous games, wearing number 88. 3 receivers to the right of the formation. They send a man in motion. Bell drops back, looks to pass. Over the middle, there's a wide open, and that's going to be a touchdown for Devin Anderson as he races past all the Dons defenders. Dons struggled in pass coverage against Citrus College 2 weeks ago. And the lack of communication on the back end by the Dons defense makes it a 6-0 score here with 14:05 in the first quarter. Kenneth Younger Porta in to attempt the extra point. 17 of 19 on the year, and does just sneak this one in on the left upright. And my name is Noah Alvarez. Thanks for tuning in. Mount SAC has an early 7-0 lead. We mentioned it in the pregame show. The Mounties, one of the best programs in the state of California. They lost in the state championship last year. Got off to a 3-0 start, however, slipped up against Citrus College in the National Northern Conference opener. But they defeated Moore Park College last time out by a final score of 61-12. That was back on September 27th. All the teams in the 3C2A had a bye last week, so everyone refreshed, ready to go, ready to return to conference play. This is the Dons' first year back in the National Division since 2015. A pooch kick over to the far side, to the Mount SAC sideline, caught at the 29, taken by Dons up back to the 35, and that's where the Dons will begin their first offensive possession. The Dons are led by quarterback Justin Gill, who comes in as the backup at the start of the year. Nate Bento was the scheduled starter. He started the first 2 games, however, got injured in that match against Chaffey College. Since then, the sophomore from La Habra takes over the Dons offense. Completion percentage just below 50, 47% on the year. 6 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Dons elect to run it on the first play. Brandon Giron runs into a wall of Mount SAC defenders at the 34, a loss of about 1 on the play. A couple players to keep an eye on for Justin Gill in the offense. Malachi Beatty going to draw a lot of one-on-one coverage because the defense will focus in on Deacon Moss. We'll see if the Dons can exploit that one-on-one coverage. Beatty's the receiver on the far side of your screen. Moss on the near side by himself. Nathan Meek down at the tight end. There was some movement. No flag thrown yet. Moss gets the ball thrown to him on the near side. Justin Gill and the rest of the Dons offensive line thought it was a free play, but did not see a flag. There was movement, however, not enough to cross the neutral zone. And so now they back it up. I think it was just a misplace there by the officiating crew tonight. Still 3rd and 11. Not in the situation that Gill and the Dons want to be in too often tonight. 13:23 left in the first quarter. 2 backs in the backfield. Giron the deep back. Shaw to his right. Gill looks to the left for Malachi Beatty. He wins the one-on-one battle, hauls it in at the 43. It's not going to be enough for a first down. But it's pivotal that Gill and Beatty can make those type of completions because there will be a lot of attention on the other receiver, Deacon Moss. We'll see the first punt by the Dons, and Riker Scott, and not only plays defensive end, serves as the team's punter. It's a high snap. It gets away from Scott now at the 9-yard line. Unable to pick it up, and Mount SAC might have taken away from him. Down at the 6-yard line, the 2 players are wrestling it for it. And coming out of the scrum is Michael Liggins, a freshman from Pasadena. Makes a big play on special teams, and Mount SAC right back in action. In the red zone, they'll start this offensive drive. 12:47 left in the first quarter. Just a high snap that never gave Riker Scott a chance. Unfortunately for the Dons, they're backed up into their own red zone. Heavy formation, a tight end. 2 tight ends in on the formation for Dante Bell in the Mount SAC offense. Ramos, the deep back. Ramos to the right, cuts up the middle, brought down from behind at the 3. Scott on the tackle. Mount SAC and the Mounties like to go with the no-huddle offense. They play at a pretty quick pace, something similar to what we saw against Citrus College. 2 tight ends in, Jackson Miller attached to the line, and Conrad Tuffley in the backfield off the line. Ramos gets another handoff to the right side. Stood up at the 1. Does he keep his feet moving? A pile falls into the end zone. No sign from the referee, and there it is. The second touchdown of the evening. 13-0 is the score. Mount SAC leads with 12:11 left to go. So a very quick lead for Mount SAC. They pretty much have to win out the rest of the season if they hope to make the postseason. Citrus College right now has the tiebreaker if they were to win out the rest of the year. Of course, they still have to play Ventura College later on in the season. Ventura right now number 3 in the state of California. Mount SAC plays them at the very end of the season on Saturday, November 8th. So very big implications on that game, and we'll see. We'll update you later on in the broadcast when does the Citrus Owls play Mount Ventura College, because that'll be a big game as well. Gutierrez serves as the kickoff kicker for the Mounties. Damian Gomez and Arthur Shaw back deep to return. No Anthony Abad today. Another pooch kick to the far side, taken at the 30. Very similar result. Dons get it to the 35. While we have this break in the action, let's go ahead and get you the starting offensive lineman for your Santa Ana Dons. At left tackle, it's the freshman Andrew Ma'aipasi. At left guard, Jace Warshaw. At center, Mitchell Jones. At right guard, Kautoke Barton. And at right tackle, the only sophomore on the line, Malik Pia. Sophomore from Gardner Grove, started 11 games for the Dons last season. Meek to the right of the formation. Shaw flanked out as a slot on the near hash. Drawn the deep back. There was movement up front. During this break in the action, we'll get you the starting defensive line for Mount SAC. David Medellin gets the start at the defensive end on the far side. At the D tackle positions, James Campbell and Jaden Marietta. And Nathan Majori starts at the other defensive end, wears number 94 on the near side. It's a very talented Mount SAC team. They get a lot of players from out of state, 39 on the roster. And if you look at the roster as a whole, good combination of sophomores and freshmen. 37 sophomores to 53 freshmen. A few transfers, bounce backs from higher programs. A quick pass to the far side. Moss blanketed by a defender. That's Brandon Witherspoon, freshman cornerback in coverage. Witherspoon is the corner on the far side. Michael Young and Dakota Mendoza are the two safeties. Corner on the near side is Kanye Childress. Two linebackers for Mount SAC, Tiandre Coleman and Najee Richardson. Two backs in the backfield. Chinchilla, the deep back, he gets a handoff, bounces to the left. Gets back to the 34, almost the 35. And it's going to be back to the original line of scrimmage. 3rd and 10 coming up. 3rd and 10 for the Dons, the first one. First 3rd down conversion that they had, or attempt, was a pitch and catch to Malachi Beatty short of the sticks. We'll see what the Dons do here. Gomez is the receiver by himself on the near side. Moss by himself on the far side. Nathan Meek attached to the line on the right of the formation. Gill drops back, scans the field, steps up into the pocket, wants to take off to run, slides down at the 43. There's a flag that comes in late in the backfield. Shaw gives a look to the white hat official. And so it's a holding penalty on Mount SAC on left tackle Ma'aipasi. Two receivers check in now for the Dons. Malachi Beatty and receiver Braden Dowden. 3rd and forever. The yard to gain is the 45. Dons are currently on the 24. Just under 11 minutes left to go in the opening quarter. Mount SAC only rushes 4. It's a draw play. To Chinchilla, the Golden West transfer, spun at the 30-yard line. Not enough for a first down, but the Dons do get some yards back, a 6-yard gain. In comes the punt unit, and we'll see if the long snapper can put it on target. For much of the season, it was Grant Ung who was a long snapper, but it does look like it's Thomas Sordrager who gets the start, a freshman from Sunny Hills. This one on point. Scott boots this one across the 50 and is down at the 46. So that's where Mount SAC will begin this next offensive possession. While we have this break in the action, we want to remind you that you can now donate to the Santa Ana College Athletics program. Know that your support goes directly into helping our student athletes thrive both on and off the field. With your donation, they will have the tools, resources, and opportunities to continue competing at a high level and representing Santa Ana College with pride. Your donation truly makes a difference, and we appreciate you for supporting the Santa Ana College family. Bell has a tight end on the left of the formation. They motion Willis, and there was a man in motion before the snap. Let's get you the starting offensive line for Mount SAC. At left tackle, it's Micah Matulao. Ryan Castillo at left guard. John Rodriguez, the sophomore, at center. Bell Tulafono, freshman right guard. And at right tackle, Herione Melioi. Two sophomores on the offensive line, along with three freshmen. Three receivers to the right of the formation for quarterback Dante Bell. Mishandles the snap. Ramos able to pick it up and to swallow it up at the 35. So miscommunication between the center Rodriguez and his quarterback Bell. The snap was fired and Bell wasn't looking. With the second and long, the Dons are going to enter another defensive back. Jesse Vargas checks in. They'll go down with this 3-down defensive lineman look. 2 linebackers and 6 defensive backs. They bring pressure. Bell's able to find a hole in the zone to the 50. And the Dons gang tackle at the Dons 46-yard line. They give him forward progress to the 44. Amari Bucci's the corner on the far side. He wears the bright pink socks. Jonas Arezzo is the corner on the near side. Josh Patton, the deep safety, along with Matthew Gill. Patton checks out for Jordan Armijo. Jesse Vargas also in as a safety. Led the team in tackles last year as a true freshman. Missed a couple games earlier on the year due to an injury. Mac Wolf and Caden Thomas, the starting linebackers. Bell hands it off to Ramos, and Thomas able to wrestle him down across the sticks to the Dons 42. It's enough for a first down. Under 9 minutes now in the opening quarter. Dons trail 14-0 to Mount SAC, the number 7th ranked team in the state of California. Team that played in the state championship and has won 3 state championships under head coach Bob Jastrop since 2005. Bell wants to air it out on the near side. His receiver has a step. Willis can't haul it in. Maybe a bit overthrown. Willis did look like he had a chance to get both paws on it. Cerezo was the corner in coverage for the Dons. It's now 2nd down and 10. Curtis Taylor, the fullback, comes into the backfield. Left of the formation. Willis, the receiver, by himself on the bottom of your screen. Bell hands it off to Ramos. Don's doing a nice job of limiting the run game early on. Wolf there to swallow him up at the 41. 3rd and 8. Mount SAC at the Santa Ana 41. Yard to gain is the Santa Ana 32. Patton checks back in. 3 receivers to the right of the formation. The Dons bring pressure here on this 3rd and long. They rush 5. Bell looks to the near side. Pitch and catch to Willis. He hauls it in at the 27. A nice anticipated throw. Bell was able to throw that ball before Willis got out of his break. Picture perfect if you're a quarterback coach or just love quarterback play. 7:40 in the first quarter. First down for Mount SAC. Empty backfield for Bell. Dons bring pressure again. Wide open over the middle. There's another receiver, and he gets past Gill. It's another touchdown. 20-0 is the score. Mount SAC is up in the opening quarter. Pierce Brown, the hauler of this reception. Younger Porta in to attempt the point after. Snap is good. He puts the kick up, and it's through the uprights. Extra point. It is good. We'll take a commercial break here on the Santa Ana College Athletics YouTube channel.
People always ask us, what's a Don? And our response is easy. To us, a Don is someone who embraces the grind. A Don is a person that brings passion, someone who takes advantage of all their opportunities. A leader, a dreamer, a winner. The question we have for you is, are you ready to be a Don?
Hernandez has this one lined up, sends it long for Shaw. No, that's Deacon Moss who takes the kick return across the 20 and has some space on the far sideline. Gets a big block on the kicker and is down at the 49-yard line of Mount SAC. The Dons finally do get across midfield. Thanks again for tuning in to Dons Football here on the Santa Ana College Athletics YouTube channel. Third series for the Dons. They haven't had a whole lot of positive gain on the play. Only 19 total yards and 7 plays thus far. Handoff up the middle to Duran. Duran gets to the 49-yard line. It's a gain of 1. Second down and 9. Dons huddle up. We saw them do this last time out against Citrus College. Really try to slow the game down. Citrus College was more of a pass-happy team, a high-scoring team entering that contest, but they only put up 30 against the Dons. The Dons won that battle of time of possession that week. They'll need to do so here, too. They hope to keep things close against Mount SAC. Gill steps up into the pocket, pressures in his face. And it's a combination of Richardson and Coleman who come in with the sack. Down at the Dons 47. So another third and long for the Dons coming up. We'll see what the offense has here. Moss and Shaw to the right of the formation. Malachi Beatty, the lone receiver, to the top of your screen. They motion Shaw. It's a handoff up the middle to Duran. He gets back to the 50, the original line of scrimmage. Tackle made by Solomon Tripline, freshman linebacker, and the Dons run out the punt unit. We've seen the Dons with good field position on that last drive, however, unable to capitalize on it. Mount SAC, a very stout defense. They only allow 385 yards per game. Their 25 points allowed per game is the 7th best in the state of California. Scott gets a much stronger boot on this one, out towards the far sideline. It lands out of bounds as there's players that have to be separated near the 40. Josh Patton was involved with the Dons. 3 players there for Mount SAC that has to be quickly cleared. So they finally spot the ball down at the 30-yard line. That's where the Mount SAC Mounties begin this next offensive drive. Bell returns as quarterback. They motion the tight end Conrad Tuffley to the left of the formation. A play action. Tries to find his tight end Tuffley. Overshoots his target. Clock stops. 2nd down and 10, 5:05 left in the first quarter. Substitution on the defensive line. Sonny Salas checks in as a defensive end for Porter Nix, who gets a breather. Damian Smith, a freshman running back, in the game right now. He gets the handoff right up the middle. Lots of space. He lowers the shoulder at the 40 and is met by Vargas and a few other Dons down at the 41. Damian Smith, the 4th leading rusher on this Mounties run game. Smith moves to the left of the formation. They motion a receiver to the flats on the near side. Bell looks him off, and there's a man wide open. An easy pitch and catch, maybe the easiest of the season for Elijah Crook. All by himself. The Dons bit on the motion. More miscommunication on the back end, and they trail now 27-0 with 4:19 left to go in the first quarter. Conversation with the head official and Simon Fuentes now on the near sideline before this extra point. Unsure what the two are talking about. It's a quick conversation. Still not ready to resume action. Younger Porta. A point after for Mount Sac to make it a 28-0 game. Kick is up, and the kick is good. With 4:19 left to go in the opening quarter, Dons trail 28-0. It's one of the best programs in the state of California. Mount Sac, winners of 3 state championships since 2005 under head coach Bob Jastrub. They've won the SoCal championship, the SCFA, 7 times in that span. They've also won the conference 14 different times under Jastrub. Last time we saw Citrus College, you mentioned that Citrus came from the American Division and now plays in the National Division and has found some success in the last couple of years. Mount Sac, though, has been the staple here in Southern California, among one of the better programs in the last 2 to 3 decades, with multiple national championships and multiple state championships at this level. This one sails into the end zone. No chance for a Dons return. They have been effective in the kick return game. Moss got out to the 50 on the last kickoff return. Damian Gomez has had a few big ones as well. That time the Mount Sac Mounties takes it out of the returner's hands and sends it into the end zone. Dons will start at the 25-yard line. They head from left to right on your screen. They're in the black uniforms. Much easier to read up here from the press box. Mount Sac in their white uniforms, red helmets. Meek moves over to the right side of the formation. It's a handoff to Shaw off the left side. He barrels ahead to the 27. Shaw's an interesting player for the Dons. Played in 2021 under head coach Anthony White. Took a couple seasons off due to injury. Only played 2 games in 2022. Hasn't been utilized the same way as he was in 2021. In 10 games, he finished with 56 catches, 798 yards through the air, and 9 touchdowns. This year, only 1 catch through 5 games. Does have 7 carries entering today's match. Gill drops back, looks to the far side for Moss. He makes a catch as he rolls onto the ground. A lot of space given by Blake Hiley. First down of the evening for the Dons. Moss leads the team with 24 catches, now 25 on the year. Leads the team with 5 receiving touchdowns. He's been the #1 threat for Justin Gill and the Dons offense this season. Fakes the handoff to Shaw, pitch out to Chinchilla. Meek puts down an important block, but it doesn't matter. Chinchilla only gets a minimal gain to the Dons 42. Check that, 37. Gain of 1 on the play. First time we've seen the triple option look from the Dons this season. Nice to see them incorporate a different offensive look. Game number 6 of the year, 2025. First-year head coach Simon Fuentes took over the program late in the summer. Gill drops back. There's pressure immediately in his face, and he's taken down. They get back to the line of scrimmage, so I'm not sure if they'll count that as a sack or not, but brought down by Kirikiti Meleoe, freshman from Upland. He and a couple of his brothers are on the roster. We mentioned Harione Meleoe, the right tackle in the Mount SAC offensive line. His brothers with Kirikiti. Under 2 minutes left to go in the first quarter. We're still in the opening quarter. Dons trail 28-0. 3rd and 9 coming up. Meek down on the formation to the right. Moss by himself. They motion Shaw to the left side. Gill looks for Moss. Over the middle, he hauls it in across midfield. What an acrobatic catch there by the freshman from Irvine. A stellar play. Again, because Simon Fuentes took over the program so late in the season, got to figure he has a better chance to recruit some of his guys this upcoming offseason. You pair some new talented players, incoming freshmen, and you keep the guys like Deacon Moss and Malachi Beatty and the other talented freshmen. Should have a pretty good squad to start with next year. Gill takes a big hit as he throws this one deep for Gomez. Through the defender's hand, nearly an interception by Childress. Gill took a big hit. He's a sophomore from La Habra High School, a local kid, but spent 1 season at McKendree University, a bounce back from a D2. One for 3 on the evening through the air. 2nd down and 10. See what the Dons draw up here. Shaw motions out to the flats one more time. A handoff to Jerron. Has some space on the right side. Gets to the 46. A minimal gain. But it sets up a much more manageable 3rd down for the Dons. Potentially 2-down territory. Too far for a field goal. But if you get 3-4 yards here, it'll be 4th and short. Has to factor into the play calling for the Dons. About a 12-second differential between play clock and game clock, so the Dons do have to snap the ball before the quarter ends. They motion Gomez to the slot on the near side. Hard count, and one of the Dons' offensive linemen moved. Will they call it on the Dons or on the Mounties? Here's the call. It is a false start on Andrew Maapaisi. Third and long, exactly what the Dons wanted to avoid as the Mounties put in some more of their pass rushers. They go 3 down defensive linemen, 3 linebacker types, along with 5 defensive backs in the formation. The Dons are going to let this game clock run out to the zeros. That'll mark the end of the first quarter. Dons trail 28-0. When we come back, we'll have more Dons football here on the Santa Ana College Athletics YouTube channel.
I got a show today. It's all I'm trying to do. Hustle and motivate. Choppers a throwaway. Hustle the overweight. That's why they follow me, huh? They think I know the way. 'Cause I took control of things. Ball in the solo way.
We transition from outside the break. 15 minutes up on the scoreboard. 28-0 is the score. Mount SAC leads. They're the number 7th ranked team in the state of California. A team that's always year in and year out competing for a state championship. They lost the state championship last season. Gill has 2 running backs in the backfield for this 3rd and 12. Moss motions to the left side of the formation. Looks to the right side, down and has no separation. Hiley the man in coverage. The Dons are forced to run out their punt unit one more time. They had a 3rd and 7, but a false start by Andrew Maapasi, the left tackle, pushes them back. Not a whole lot of play calls in the playbook for a 3rd and 12. Riker Scott stands at his own 35. Harris stands at his own 20-yard line. Runs to the far sideline, bounces out of bounds. Near out of bounds, it stays in bounds at the 24, and that's where it's down by the Dons. Thanks again for tuning in to Dons Football on the Santa Ana College Athletics YouTube channel. My name is Noah Alvarez. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel wherever you may be tuning in from. You get a notification every time we go live from the pitch, the basketball court, or from Eddie West Field. Only one more home game remains for the Santa Ana Dons this season. That'll be on October 25th. They take on Ventura College. Kickoff set at 1 p.m. It's another tough matchup for Santa Ana coming up. Ventura currently ranked 3rd in the state of California. New quarterback in for Bishop, for Mounties. Hunter Herrera on his first play. A play action pass. Gets it out to his tight end across the 30. Brought down from behind. Wallace Filemeu in on the stop at the 32-yard line. Jackson Miller makes the catch. Herrera, the quarterback. Smith, the running back in the formation. They motion a receiver from left to right. It's a handoff to Smith off the left side. Gets to the 35, and that will be enough for a first down. Smith is a native to New Orleans. We mentioned how Mount SAC, year in and year out, do a nice job of recruiting out-of-state players. Only 44 states offer community college football, and even the ones that do don't have the same level of competition. So every year there's always players from different states looking to make a new home in California. Programs like Fullerton College, Golden West College, and a few others in the Southern California area always do a nice job of recruiting out-of-state players and have that mix of out-of-state and in-state guys. 39 of the 90 on the roster for Mount SAC are out-of-state players, 43%. It's right about their average year in and year out. Second down and short after the gain by Smith. Herrera looks to the near side, finds his receiver, and it comes out of the hands. Elijah Crook had it, couldn't haul it in. Cerezo, the man in coverage, freshman from Brea, getting some more playing time due to the injuries the Dons have dealt with. A lot of injuries on the year. None bigger than starting quarterback Nate Bento, who was knocked out in the second game against Chaffey College. 3rd and 3, first third down conversion for the Mounties offense. Herrera, quarterback motions Crook to roll out to the right side. He looks for his receiver on the near sideline, another drop. Wiggins can't haul it in on the near side. The Mounties have been hit with the case of the drops. We'll see if the Mounties elect to punt this ball away. They do run out the punt unit. Punter on the team is Nicholas Lane. He only has 15 punts on the year. Sure, he and the rest of the coaching staff didn't think they'd be punting a whole lot against the Dons this evening. Big lead early. Gomez and Moss both back deep to return, and we mentioned the Dons do have a dangerous return game. If I'm Lane, I'm kicking this away from Gomez. 2 seconds left on the play clock. Lane does get this one off. It is over to Gomez. Takes it at the 15, and he did wave for a fair catch. 12:55 left to go in the second quarter. Dons trail 28-0. The Mount SAC offense put in some of their second stringers, and we'll see if the defense does the same. Still see Najee Richardson and Tiandre Campbell, two starting linebackers, along with a few of the starting defensive linemen. So it does look like the starting unit's still out there for Mount SAC. First time they've played the Mounties since 2007. Three receivers to the left of Gill. Meek down on the formation on the right side. They pull two blockers to the left. They hand off to Duran. Gets past the first defender and spun down at the 16. Gain of 1. Those same holes that the Dons get against other opponents, whether it was Citrus or East Los Angeles, much smaller, as the Mount SAC Mounties defense does a really good job of closing in on the gaps quickly. 12.5 minutes left to go in the first half. Dons huddle up. They try and slow down the tempo of this game. Have now possessed it 10 minutes to the Mounties 7. They only have 11 total yards to show for it on the evening. Chinchilla motions out to the right. Mounties bring pressure. A quick pass intended for Meek. Incomplete. The safety Dakota Mendoza makes the play. Frenchman from Rancho Cucamonga. Meek is an interesting story as well. Led the team last year with 263 receiving yards and 3 receiving touchdowns. He was the #1 threat for quarterback Nate Bento in the passing game. However, when Bento was knocked out in week 2, Meek has pretty much been a non-factor. He had 6 catches in those first 2 weeks. Since then, only 4 on the year. We're now in week 6. Gill just hasn't been able to find his tight end. Gill scans the field, gets hit as he throws. He's lucky that ball is not intercepted. Pressure came from his right. Clock stops at 12:02. Gill got hit in his throwing arm as he made that throw, so we'll see if he's able to stay in the game. Punt unit comes out one more time. 5th time of the evening we're seeing Riker Scott. Dons are now 1 of 7 on 3rd down conversions this evening. Takes a Dons friendly bounce. Harris decided to let that one go, and it's down at the 33. The schedule coming up for your Santa Ana Dons on the season. Next week they'll take at Long Beach City College. Kickoff set at 3 p.m. They return home on the 25th, take on Ventura College. Kickoff set at 1. And then 2 matches in November at Moore Park on November 1st. And then Saturday, November 8th, they finish off the season with a game at Santa Barbara City College. Those 3 road games, best chances for the Dons to win this season. Long Beach City College only has 1 win. Moore Park and Santa Barbara City both still winless. A screen out to Anderson on the near side. A minimal gain as he gets to the Dons. No, the Mount SAC 36. Dante Bell back in at quarterback. He's a native to Anaheim. He originally went to Catella High School, then transferred to Huntington Beach. Last year as a freshman played at East Los Angeles College. Now playing at Mount SAC as a transfer. It's really the new age of athlete. A lot of transferring in high school, a lot of transferring in college, and we'll see if he transfers at the next level. Another screen pass to the far side and a breakaway run for the receiver. That's Pierce Brown, who had all sorts of space and wins the foot race with Matthew Gill. The Mounties put back in their starting group on offense. 34-0 is the score. 11:05 left to go in the second quarter. It's the 4th touchdown on the evening for Dante Bell. He now has 9 on the season. Younger Porta to attempt the point after. Eric Najarro, the holder. He's the 3rd string quarterback that we might see later on in the evening. Extra point is good through the uprights. 11:05 left to go in the first half. Your Dons trail 35-0. We'll be back after this commercial break.
People always ask us, what's a Don? And our response is easy. To us, a Don is someone who embraces the grind. A Don is a person that brings passion, someone who takes advantage of all their opportunities. A leader, a dreamer, a winner. The question we have for you is, are you ready to be a Don?
Back on the Santa Ana College Athletics YouTube channel. The sun is set here in the city of Santa Ana. We're at the Santa Ana Stadium. It's gone by different names. The Santa Ana Bowl, Eddie West Field. A pooch kick now to the Don sideline, taken at the 37. Oh, man. Mounties smack the up back down at the 36. That's Drake Dalmas, freshman tight end from Yorba Linda. A few times the ball has found him. Instead of electing to go with the fair catch. He's taken a couple big shots already in this evening's contest. Dons are huddled up. They've only moved the chains once this evening. They're 1 of 7 on third down conversions. 21 total plays, 11 total yards, 30 yards through the air. They've gone backwards on their run plays, and before they can get this play going, the referees blow this one dead. First down and 15 for the Dons as they continue to go backwards. Because they count sacks as a rushing statistic, the Dons currently have negative 19 rushing yards on the evening. A handoff to Garan. He makes the first man miss, jumps over to the left, across the 35, and pushes the pile all the way to the 42 before he's brought out of bounds. What a run there. Garan, a former teammate of Dante Bell, the Mount SAC quarterback last year at East Los Angeles College. And we saw the Huskies earlier this season at Eddie West Field. Garan entered today's match with 188 yards on the ground. That last rush puts him over 200 on the season. He's playing a little bit more than I'm sure he expected to as well. Ethan Frazier, starting back, out for the season for the Dons. Fakes the handoff, a quick pass out to Meek. He's tripped up in the flats. A negative gain on the play. Quickly brought down by Gavin Stewart. At that nickel corner position that we see Wallace Felemu pay for the Santa Ana Dons. The Mounties put in their pass rush unit. So on 2nd and 4, they go backwards. It's 3rd and 7. Under 10 minutes left to go. Yard to gain is the Dons' 46-yard line. 3 receivers to the left of the formation, one of them being Meek, the tight end. Gill looks that direction and now takes the sack down at the 28-yard line. 3 players collapsed in on him. Taven Bean alongside a few others in on the sack. Solomon Tripline also there in the backfield. The Mounties only rushed 4. However, we're able to get home on that 3rd and long. Scott stands at his own 15. Gets this one off. Harris takes this at his 34. Crosses the 40. Runs towards the far sideline. A flag comes in. There might be a blindside block by Mounties' return game. Less than 9 minutes left to go in the first half. While we have this break in the action, let's go ahead and get you some scores from around the 3C2A. because everyone was on a bye last week, they did the thing where they play some games on Thursday and Friday night. So not many teams in action today. But earlier today, East Los Angeles, who we've mentioned a lot, defeated Orange Coast College 34-7 for their second win of the season. In the conference, Ventura defeated Hancock on the road 31-14. So got to imagine they'll stay in the top 5 in the state of California. Long Beach City College currently up on Citrus 14-7. That game's in the second quarter. A potential upset brewing for Citrus College, who's now ranked 13th in the state of California. And then the battle of winless teams. Moore Park and Santa Barbara play tonight at Santa Barbara City College. Moore Park currently leads 12-0. So those are your scores from around the conference today. Get you some of those scores from earlier this week as well, as there was some Thursday night and Friday night football. Hunter Herrera back in the game for Mount SAC. Quick pitch and catch to his receiver on the far side. R.J. Willis hauls it in. Herrera on the season. Young freshman. 620 yards through the air, 4 touchdowns. Also has 17 yards on the ground. Ramos in the backfield. Herrera wants to air it out, and this one is almost intercepted by Amari Bucci. Bucci returned a blocked field goal last week. I guess it was 2 weeks ago against Citrus College, but the last time out for the Dons. And might have walked into the end zone had he hauled that one in. Abraham Tolliver in as a defensive end on the near side. And the Dons go with this dime package. 3 down defensive linemen, 2 linebackers, 6 DBs. 3rd and 4. Yard to gain is the 45 of Mount SAC. Dons rush 5. Completes the pass across midfield. Brought down at the Dons 49. Completion to Pierce Brown. Sophomore from Orange Lutheran High School, another Trinity League player. Teammates with Wallace Felemu. Back for the Lancers a couple seasons ago. 1st down and 10. Mount SAC in plus territory. Another quick pass to Pierce Brown on the near side. A flag comes in late. Brown upended by Patton at the 40-yard line. That flag is going to be a holding. Probably on Devin Anderson, who had hold of Amari Bucci outside the shoulder pads. Repeat 1st down. 1st down and 12. It's the flag on the spot of the foul. Devin Anderson guilty of the hold. 2 receivers to each side of the formation. The ball's on the near hash. Mount SAC moves from left to right in the second quarter. Another quick pass to Anderson, and he can't hang on to that one. 3rd drop of the evening. Bit surprising to see for Mount SAC. They have so many receiving threats. The first 2 drops were by Elijah Crook and Damari Wiggins. Anderson now guilty of a drop. He leads the team entering today's match with 19 catches, 392 yards through the air, and 3 receiving touchdowns. 2nd down and long. 3 receivers to the left of the formation. Ramos still in the backfield. Dons rush 5. Both linebackers come in on a blitz. Vargas underneath that throw. That was a dangerous throw to Anderson. Flags come in late. Some extracurricular activity. Ramos lost a helmet, and now he's in the face of the referee here, the umpire. There was also a lineman for Mount SAC that threw one of the threw one of the Santa Ana College players down to the turf. So they have a lot to sort out here on this play. There's a player thrown down by a Mount SAC offensive lineman, and then there was Aiden Ramos, the running back, who lost his helmet and was yelling at somebody. Our eyes were down here on the near sideline on the pass intended to Anderson. So they call it on 33, but there is no 33 out on the field for Mount SAC. But the first penalty is on right guard Bel Tulafono. He's the one who's guilty of throwing the Dons player down, and they're going to say that's during the play. Then there was an unsportsmanlike conduct called on Mount SAC after the play. So this might be a loss of 30 yards. Well, you know, they're getting their steps in. He almost headed the wrong direction. I guess he is going to go back. If they were offsetting, so there was miscommunication. The unsportsmanlike was on the Dons defense after the playing. Should have never had to move the ball, though, as it stays on the Mount SAC 49. It's an automatic first down because it was an unsportsmanlike on the Dons. 33 is Gabriel Bagdanoff. He didn't start today. 31, Caden Thomas got the start at linebacker for the Dons. So maybe that's the number they intended. Here's a pass, tipped out the line of scrimmage, out short to Brown. Brown scoots out of bounds. Patton the first one there. Things are getting awfully chippy despite the 35-0 score. Patton was in a crowd of Mount SAC players on the sideline. Not sure what was said or what took place over there in that crowd, but Patton comes off hobbling. We're now going to see Levi merging into the game as a safety. Second down and short. 7.5 minutes left to go. Thanks again for tuning in to Don's Football on the Santa Ana College Athletics YouTube channel. Dons bring pressure. Herrera tries to stand over the middle, nearly intercepted by Wolf. Another dropped interception. The Dons are going to have to make those plays if they hope to score this evening. They're down in 3. Devin Turner in the backfield, the sophomore from Dallas. Dons bring pressure, and Herrera goes down. He's blammered from behind, down at the 48 of Mount SAC. Vargas came in clean. 4th down and 10. So a nice call by defensive coordinator Adam Nyson to get some pressure on the backup quarterback Hunter Herrera. Gomez and Moss both back deep to return this one. Gomez on the far hash. Moss near the middle of the field. Lane, second punt of the evening. A short one. Does take a Mount SAC friendly bounce all the way to the 3. They're going to say now 2-yard line. So the ball might have been touched earlier. It's downed at the 24, and so instead of the Dons being backed up within their own 5-yard line, Santa Ana College goes right to left on your screen. Just under 6.5 minutes left to go in the first half. Shaw and Duran both in the backfield. Shaw motions to the right. Gill hands it off to Duran. Up the middle, squeezes through a few defenders to the 30. Gain of 6 on the play. Second down and short. It's a couple second stringers in for the Mount SAC defense. In at linebacker at the moment, Tyree McCohen and Miles Jackson. Still some starting defensive backs in the backfield. One starting D lineman. That's Nathan Majori on the far side for Mount SAC. 3 receivers to the left of the formation. Mount SAC brings pressure. Another handoff to Jerron. He stood up in the backfield on the 27. Not a whole lot of space. Beatty splits out wide to the top of your screen. Moss, the receiver, by himself on the near side. Meek in the backfield. They motion him to the right of the formation. Gill drops back, looks to the right. Lots of space for Beatty. He makes the catch at the 35 and is wrestled down at the 42. Second catch on the evening by Malachi Beatty, freshman from Garden Grove. A lot of talented freshmen on this roster. The Dons are able to hang on to them, develop them and during the whole offseason. And Simon Fuentes took over the program sort of late, the beginning of August. Not a whole lot of time to get his style of recruits in. Fuentes was an assistant coach last year and has spent some time with the Dons program during the 2010s. Shaw motions out to the right of the formation. First down and 10, another handoff to Jerron to the 43-yard line of Santa Ana College. Dons are consistent with this ground game. We mentioned in the pregame show, 3 straight games of 100-plus yards rushing or more. Jerron now comes off the field. The Dons are already down 2 running backs on the season. Anthony Abad out tonight and Ethan Frazier out for the year. Chinchilla is the deep back. Shaw motions to the left side of the formation. Gill looks to the left side, tries to find Beatty. There was some contact before the catch attempt. Breaking on the route was Brandon Witherspoon. Clock stops at 3:45. Third down and 9 coming up for the Dons. And you don't want to be in third and long against this pass rush of Mount SAC. Braden Downen and Damian Gomez both check in. Shaw checks out. Meek also checks out of the formation. Ball on the far hash. Yard to gain is a Mount SAC 48. And a flag comes in. So they had 12 players in the huddle. The Dons march back 5 steps, and it's third down and 18. Third down and 13 coming up. Gill with 2 receivers to the left of the formation. Moss motions to the right side. Play action. They get it to Moss in the flats. 2 blockers out in front of him. And he crosses the 45 down at the 48. They say now 49-yard line. We'll see if the Dons go for it here. They're 0 for 1 on the evening on 4th down attempts. It's 4th and short. The yard to gain is the Mount SAC 48-yard line. They're on the Dons 49. 4th down and 3. Dons break the huddle. The offense stays on the field. Braden Downen, unsure of where he's supposed to go, now lines up in the slot on the right side. All sorts of confusion there. The Dons look completely discombobulated as they broke the huddle. There's a timeout taken by head coach Simon Fuentes with 2:56 left to go in the first half. My name is Noah Alvarez saying thanks for tuning in. We'll come back with the 4th down play after this. Back here on the Santa Ana College Athletics YouTube channel. My name is Noah Alvarez. 4th down and 3 coming up for the Dons offense. Simon Fuentes sends out his quarterback Justin Gill. Chinchilla the D-back. Mount SAC. Yard to gain is the 48. They motion Chinchilla now to the flats. Gill gets brought down from behind. Never stood a chance. David Medellin with the sack in the backfield at the Santa Ana 40-yard line. Now Fuentes onto the field as if there was a flag on the play. Don't see any flag from our angle here at the press box. And so there's a sideline warning on Mount SAC. Because it is a warning, there's no yards given. And it is a turnover on downs. Mount SAC gets the ball in plus territory. .252 left to go in the first half. Don's defense returns out to the field. We'll see Porter Nix line up as a defensive tackle right on the center. Abraham Tolliver and Sonny Salas are the two defensive ends. The Dons return to that 3-2-6 nickel package. Ramos motions out to the left of the formation. Herrera wants to air it out deep over the left side of the field. Nearly dropped, but it's caught by his receiver, Bronzeman Davis, the sophomore. So that score makes it a 41-0 game. 2:44 left to go. A one-play drive. Hunter Herrera finds his receiver, Bronzeman Davis, his first touchdown reception of the year. And that's the 5th touchdown pass of the season for Herrera. Blown coverage. Seen that a few times tonight and against Citrus College 2 weeks ago. The Dons just don't have the same defensive backs that they did last year, a season ago. Jesse Vargas, the only one returning, along with Matthew Gill. Matthew Gill only played a handful of snaps last season as a freshman. But it's a new unit. And a few new faces in the lineup getting more playing time as well. We mentioned Jonas Arezzo and Amari Bucci get the start. It's Arezzo's first start at corner this season and Bucci's second, as he missed the first 3 games due to an injury. Hernandez has this one on the tee on the 35, sends it towards the near side. Moss can't grab it cleanly, picks it up at the 16, weaves through a few defenders and is brought down at the 22. And Mount SAC, the cream of the crop here in the Southern California Football Association. One of the best programs in Southern California. You can argue the entire state. Since 2005, only City College of San Francisco has more state champions. They have 4 during that time period. Fullerton College and Mount SAC both have 3. Riverside City College also has a couple since 2005. 2 backs in the backfield. Gill hands it off to Duran, who re-enters the game after leaving earlier with an arm injury. Gets to the 24-yard line. Remember, at this level, we will have a 2-minute timeout, so the Dons can roll it all the way. There's about a 7-second differential between the play clock and the game clock. The Dons are huddled up on their own 20. The 2-minute timeout here. 2 minutes remain in the first half. Thanks again for tuning in to Dons Football here on the Santa Ana College Athletics YouTube channel. We'll go ahead and get you those scores from Thursday and Friday's action in the 3C2A. Because all the teams were on a bye last week. On Thursday, October 9th, they had a few games. Fullerton defeated College of the Canyons 20-10, an upset in Santa Clarita. Saddleback College defeated Mount San Jacinto on the road by a final score of 24-13. Golden West defeated Pasadena City College 28-21. Riverside City College dominated Chaffee 41-27 was the final score. And El Camino defeated San Diego Mesa 28-14. That was all the National Division teams in action. There's a few American Division teams as well, teams that you're familiar with as the Dons played in the American Division the last 9 seasons. LA Valley defeated Compton 53-0. Victor Valley pulled off an upset over Antelope Valley. 39-37 was the final score. And San Bernardino Valley defeated Glendale College 38-21. Good to see San Bernardino Valley back with the football program this year. They had to forfeit the remaining part of their season last year after 4 weeks. They didn't have enough players or enough healthy players, and they moved down to the American Division. But they have enough players on their roster this year. Second down and 8. Yard to gain is the Santa Ana 32. 3 receivers to the near side of the formation. Meek to the right. Draw on the deep back. A counter play for the Dons goes nowhere. Blown up by Medellin in the backfield. Another tackle for loss by the sophomore from La Quinta. That's over in the Inland Empire out by Palm Desert. Third down and 9. Mounties make a defensive substitution. They go with the 3-down defensive lineman look. 8 seconds left on the play clock. Shaw in the backfield alongside Chinchilla. 21 personnel. Gill drops back, wants to air it out long for Moss, who has a step on his defender. Oh my, an immaculate catch by the freshman. What a play there by Deacon Moss. The freshman makes another immaculate catch on the near side all the way to the Mount SAC 40-yard line. First big play there for the Dons offense. The second third down conversion. Less than a minute left to go, and the Dons do have 2 of their timeouts. We'll see if they decide to use them. Shaw motions out to the right of the formation. First down and 10. Gill wants to throw it quickly. Gets it to the sophomore. Shaw makes a few defenders miss. Slippery out there in the flats to the Mount SAC 27. And now Simon Fuentes calls the first timeout. Second timeout of the first half. Dons are within striking distance, just outside the red zone. 39 seconds remain here, and we'll remain with you on the Santa Ana College Athletics YouTube channel during this break in the action. We want to remind you to subscribe to the YouTube channel, as you'll get a notification every time we go live during this fall season. We have Don's women's volleyball, men's soccer, women's soccer, and football going on, as well as men's wrestling. Winter season, though, right around the corner, and we'll have the women's and men's basketball games live from the Bill Cook Gymnasium here on the YouTube channel. We also want to remind you, too, that you could donate now directly to the Santa Ana College Athletics program. Know that your donation goes directly to helping our student athletes succeed at the highest level, both on and off the field. And that way the Dons can continue representing Santa Ana College with pride. You use the QR code up on your screen. I'll prompt you to a screen where you can make a donation of any amount. We also want to say thank you to those who have donated already. Dons break the huddle and then re-enter the huddle now. First down and 10. Can the Dons score before the first half comes to an end? 39 seconds left. Meek moves to the left side of the formation. Gill wants to air it out deep to Moss. There's a safety over the top. And the safety misplays the ball. Mendoza was in perfect position. Moss did a nice job of playing defensive back. There is the flag down in the backfield, usually in the vicinity of holding. Clock stops with 33 seconds. A roughing the passer penalty on Kirikiti Melioi. So he's guilty of the penalty, and now the Dons move into the red zone. We mentioned only 6 touchdowns on the season on 16 tries. Have to punch it in here. Find some sort of momentum to build upon. Not only for today, but for the rest of the season, capitalizing on these red zone opportunities. Moss, the man in motion, circles back now to the near side. A high throw intended for Moss, and it sails out of bounds. Richardson, the man who was in the face of Gill. 28 seconds remain in the first half. Clock is stopped on the incompletion. It's a nice play design, but unfortunately the Dons unable to block up front for Gill to have a clean pocket to make an accurate throw. Beatty to the left side. Moss and Meek to the right of the formation. Shaw in the backfield along with Chinchilla. Shaw motions to the slot. The Mounties bring pressure. They take a shot to the end zone. Moss unable to haul that one in. A few yards off target. Clock stops now with 25 seconds. The Dons still do have one timeout remaining. They're down at 10. Yard to gain is the 3-yard line, so the Dons can scoot closer before they need to punch it into the end zone. Dons break the huddle with 7 seconds left on the play clock. Meek and 2 receivers to the left of the formation. The Mounties bring tons of pressure. Gill goes backward and just throws it away to the right side. Beatty is the receiver in the vicinity. And no flag thrown yet for intentional grounding. And the referee does announce that Beatty was in the area. So no intentional grounding, and the Dons will run out the field goal unit. We'll see Diego Hernandez. Holder spotted up at the 19-yard line. 29-yard field goal attempt for the Santa Ana Dons coming up. This one's blocked by Mount Sac. The ball gets away to the 30, and the Dons do a nice job of just falling on it at the 34. But a chance for the Dons to get points before the half comes to an end. All for naught. And the Mounties will have the ball with 12 seconds left. We'll see how aggressive they are in their approach. Another flag comes out on the Mounties sideline. It's getting pretty rowdy over there. A lot of energy. It's a big roster, 90 players on the roster in comparison to the Dons, who only have 72. They already did give them a sideline warning, so I'll imagine this will be a penalty with some yards on it. So it is a 5-yard penalty on Mount Sac. Hunter Herrera checks into the game as the quarterback, and they are in the quarterback kneel formation. He takes a knee, and that'll take us to the end of the first half. At the end of 30 minutes, Mount Sac leads over Santa Ana College. 42-0 is your score. We'll take a break for halftime, and when we come back, we'll have some first half statistics as well as some scores from around the 3C2A. Back here on the Santa Ana College Athletics YouTube channel. My name is Noah Alvarez. The Dons currently trail Mount SAC 42-0. And while it's been all Mounties in the first half, they have a total of 343 yards of offense. The Dons, in the meantime, only have 82 yards of offense through 2 full quarters. Mount SAC leads 42-0. They have 12 first downs to the Dons 6. They have 122 yards through the air and 222 yards through the ground. The Dons have only punted the ball 5 different times, while the Mount SAC Mounties have only punted it twice. They're 3 of 6 on third down. The Dons are 3 of 12. They've had a lot of unmanageable third and long situations as an offense, which made things really difficult for Santa Ana College for finding a rhythm. Leading players and individual statistics, leading the things through the air for Mount SAC, Dante Bell with 253 yards through the air, 4 touchdowns. Hunter Herrera also has 69 yards and 1 touchdown. On the ground, the Dons have done a nice job of neutralizing the ground game for Mount SAC. The leading rusher, Damian Smith, has 23 yards off 3 carries. But for the Dons, the only couple players that have positive yardage are Gadron with 24 yards, Chinchilla with 12, and Arthur Shaw, 1 carry for 2 yards. Deacon Moss has 4 receptions for 73 yards. He leads the Dons in receiving category. R.J. Willis leads the team in catches with 4 for 34. However, Pierce Brown has 4 for 124 yards and 2 touchdowns. Devin Anderson, along with Elijah Crook and Bronzeman Davis, also have touchdowns on the evening. It's been all Mount SAC, and we mention it, and we'll continue to mention it. Mount SAC is one of the powerhouses here in Southern California. Year in and year out, they're competing for a state championship. They're the powerhouse of Southern California, along the likes of Fullerton College and Riverside City, almost similar to how the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. About a minute away from the second half of action. The Dons 0-5, still looking for their first victory on the season. Mount SAC 4-1-1, 1-1 in conference play. That one loss was to Citrus College, and Citrus defeated Mount SAC for the first time in 30-plus years, a 48-43 Owls victory on September 20th. After that, Mount SAC defeated Moore Park 61-12 before their bye week. They're at Santa Ana College this week, at Santa Barbara City, and then versus Long Beach City College for the rest of October. A pretty easy schedule in the month of October. Santa Barbara City also winless. Long Beach City College only 1 win on the year. Then they take on Allen Hancock on November 1st, but the very important match at the very end of the season, Saturday, November 8th at Ventura College, that can very much decide the winner in the Northern Conference here in the National Division. We'll go ahead and check in on the scores from around the conference and around the 3C2A. We mentioned that Long Beach City was currently up on Citrus College. However, Citrus has narrowed the gap as they get ready to begin the second half. Long Beach leads Citrus 24-21. That game is starting in the third quarter. Also going down in Southern California, Moore Park has a 26-0 lead over Santa Barbara City College. Cerritos defeated Bakersfield by a final score of 35-28. Ventura defeated Allen Hancock earlier today. 31-14 was the final score. And the only other game going on in Southern California at the moment, LA Southwest at College of the Desert. But there's no live stats from that match, so we don't have a score update over there. If you look at the upcoming schedule for Santa Ana College, after today, they'll travel to Long Beach City College, October 18th, kickoff at 3 p.m. On the 25th, they'll host Ventura College. Kickoff set at 1 p.m. as they take on the Pirates. And they'll finish with 2 road matches at Moore Park on November 1st and at Santa Barbara City on November 8th. A chance towards the end of the season for the Dons to pick up their first victory. Moss takes the kickoff return and is spun down at the 27-yard line. Dons will start things off with the ball here to begin the second half. Only 88 total yards of offense. It's been tough sledding for Justin Gill. They really struggled to protect their quarterback. They did have one big long play to Deacon Moss towards the tail end of the first half. However, the Dons got all the way to the 13-yard line and were unable to punch it in. Chinchilla as the deep back. Shaw motions out to the left of the formation. First down and 10. High snap. Gill brings it down, gets it to Chinchilla, the Golden West College transfer, and he's met at the line of scrimmage. Again, Gill takes over for the injured Nate Bento. Bento was knocked out of the game during week 2 against Chaffey College. Back-to-back seasons he's gotten hurt against Chaffey College. Both Chaffey and Santa Ana were in the American Division and moved up to the National Division this offseason. Meek down as a tight end, attached to the line, top of your screen. Quick handoff to Shaw, off to the left side, and he's met in the backfield all the way to the 26. The Dons are going backwards. Jaden Marietta on the tackle. Mounties still have a few starters on the defense out on the field. Very talented program. A lot of players from out of state. They do a nice job of recruiting some top talent from the area as well. Jaden Marietta, who made that last tackles from Bishop Amont. Good team in the Covina area. 13.5 minutes left to go. Third down and 12. Gill drops back. Sells the play action. Now has to step up, and Marietta collides with Medellin. And they combine for the sack. Gill goes down for the 5th sack of the evening. That'll force the Dons to bring out their punt unit. Harris stands at his own 50. It's a new punt returner actually out there for Mount SAC. Riker Scott stands at his own 5. Gets this one away. We'll take a Dons friendly bounce. Across the 35. And is down at the 32. So Samuel Gamino lets that one go. And we'll see the Mount SAC offense, and we'll see which quarterback comes out. Dante Bell started the game. He still has 4 touchdowns on the evening. Hunter Herrera has gotten the last 4 series for the Mounties offense. And now we'll see the quarterback, Eric Najarro. He's a 3rd-string quarterback, a freshman from Glendora High School. 5 of 6 in pass attempts on the year, 45 total yards through the air. Turner in the backfield. He gets a handoff over to the right side. Swung down, swung out of bounds. His helmet comes off at the Mount SAC 35. An interesting note on the running back staff by Mount SAC. A lot of the players are transfers. And that's something that you have to do if you want to compete at the highest level at this level. Aiden Ramos, the transfer from Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, a bounce back. Jamel Sly, who's now into the game, is a transfer from the University of Pacific in Oregon. Najarro rolls out to his right, crosses the line of scrimmage, shows good speed, and gets out of bounds at the 43-yard line. Devin Turner, who we've called his name a few times, tailback from Dallas. He's a transfer from Riverside City College, so not a bounce back from the D1 level, but he did transfer. First down and 10. Mount SAC moves the chains. 2 receivers to the left of the formation. Najarro, quick pitch and catch to receiver Davis. Bronzeman Davis hauls it in. Pushed out of bounds near the first down marker in Don's territory. They say he stepped out of bounds at the 49 of Mount SAC. Second down and 4. Second catch of the evening for Bronzeman Davis. He does have a touchdown as well. Pierce Brown leads the team with 2 receiving touchdowns on the evening. Handoff to the tailback on the right side, and the Dons defense swallows him up in the backfield. At the 47, loss of 2 for Devin Turner. Dons run on another defensive lineman. That's Malik Pia, who comes into the game. The starting right tackle for the Dons offensive line. 3rd and 6. Yard to gain is the Dons 47. Najarro drops back. Quick pass to the right side. The receiver hauls it in, crosses the 45. It's enough for a first down. He's upended at the 42. Davis one more time, the sophomore from Tulsa. 17 catches on the season, 3 tonight. Tied in on the formation to the left side. 2 receivers out that way as well for Najarro. First down and 10. Another handoff to Turner. He's patient. Weaves his way to the 36-yard line. Clock continues to roll. 9:40 left to go in the third quarter. Camden Jones is the tight end to the left of the formation, attached to the line. Turner on the right side of Najarro. Makes the first 2 defenders miss, bounces outside to the left. A feisty runner. Gets all the way to the 34. They say 33. They'll set up 4th down and 1. 3rd and 1. There's an injured Dons player down on the turf. That's Amari Bucci. We've called his name a few times this evening. He's only started 2 games for the Dons this season, as he was dealing with an injury and missed some time. We hope it's not a serious injury at the moment. As we have this break in the action, we'll go ahead and cut to a commercial break and be right back after this.
People always ask us, what's a Don? And our response is easy. To us, a Don is someone who embraces the grind. A Don is a person that brings passion. Someone who takes advantage of all their opportunities. A leader, a dreamer, a winner. The question we have for you is, are you ready to be a Don?
Back here from commercial break, 3rd and short. Less than a yard. Turner to the left of Najarro. Tight end goes down in motion. Turner gets the handoff to the right side. Lots of blocking on that side for the running back. And the receiver does a nice job of blocking down the field as he crosses the 15 and is upended at the 6-yard line. Big gain there by Devin Turner. Was untouched all the way inside the 10. Mount SAC goes no huddle. Good blocking by everyone involved on the play. Didn't see a number of the receiver who was out there, but laid a nice block on the corner. 1st and goal from the 5. Fakes the handoff to Turner, dumps it out to the flats for Wiggins. Najarro takes a shot. Sonny Salas in on the pressure. Sonny Salas, Porter Nix, Malik Pia, and Riker Scott are the 4 down defensive linemen for the Dons at the moment. Clock stops at 8:11. Quarterback came off for a play as his helmet came off on the last play. So Najarro subs out for Hunter Herrera. Don't think we'll see any more of Dante Bell the rest of the evening. Same formation, Turner to the right of Herrera. 2nd down and goal. A counter to Turner. He gets all the way to the 4. There's a few Dons defenders there. Porter Nix, first one to get there from that nose tackle position. Herrera will stay into the game. A few more substitutions as Conrad Tuffley checks in for the tight end, James. Tuffley to the left of the formation alongside Wiggins and Davis. 3rd and goal at the 3.5-yard line. It's a pass play. Herrera tries to fit it into a tight window, and it's broken up. Jacob Gadsden now in the game. We've seen him start the first 5 games of the year for the Dons in 2025. Comes off the bench for the injured Amari Bucci. And Mount SAC will run out the field goal unit. Herrera, the holder, set up at the 11-yard line. 21-yard field goal, a chip shot for Younger Porta. Field goal is good. Makes it a 45-0 game with 7:12 left to go in the 3rd quarter. My name is Noah Alvarez saying thanks for tuning in to Dons Football here on the Santa Ana College Athletics YouTube channel.
Life doesn't change overnight. It takes effort and dedication. It takes learning new skills and putting yourself and loved ones first. At Santa Ana College, you can complete a full-time accelerated online program in just 2 years. Choose a program that meets your needs and changes your educational dreams into a well-deserved reality. Building the life you want means taking a first step. Start your journey at Santa Ana College. Where it leads is up to you.
Deacon Moss and Damian Gomez back deep to return on this kickoff. Hernandez set to kick this one deep. Over to the far side, a chance for Deacon Moss, the freshman. Cuts back towards the middle, reads his blocks, gets out past the 35 and stands out of bounds at the 36. Positive starting field position for the Dons. 7:03 left to go in the 3rd quarter. There is a flag down at the 19 of Santa Ana College. We'll see what the call is, usually in the vicinity of holding. Holding call on Levi Murgy. Half the distance to the goal. Dons are backed up inside their own 10. Moss and Shaw to the right of the formation. Meek in the backfield. Chinchilla the deep back. Beatty by himself at the top of your screen. Chinchilla gets the handoff, lowers the shoulder, and fights to the 11-yard line. Gain of 1.5. The Dons have won this time of possession battle on the evening. They've been in possession for 21 minutes in comparison to the 16 by Mount SAC. Doing a nice job of keeping it out of the Mounties' hands. However, they're unable to punch it in for a score. Penalties have hurt them. The Dons have 6 penalties for 60 yards. Only 76 yards total of offense. 2nd down and 8. Yard to gain is the 21. Gill unloads this one for Beatty. He comes back to the ball and makes an immaculate catch. But the ball is ripped out at the 37. Beatty can't get it back. There is a whistle, but they're going to let play continue at the moment. One of the Mountie defenders now runs into the end zone. I believe they're going to mark this one down at the 37. It is a fumble, a catch. Fumble by Malachi Beatty. And it's recovered by Mount SAC. He was down on the ground as he recovered it. That's Michael Liggins, who recovers the fumble for the Mounties. They're back on offense. Eric Najarro back in at quarterback for the Mounties. 6:07 left to go in the third quarter. Jamel Sly, a sophomore from Cajon High School out in San Bernardino, now into the backfield. Quick pass to the right side, batted down at the line of scrimmage. Tolliver was the one who got his hands on it. Tolliver is one of the few sophomore returners on this defense. Another kid from Estancia High School over in the city of Costa Mesa. Second down and 10. Many players for the Mount Sac offense. Further down the depth chart are currently in as Jamel Sly gets another handoff. Doesn't get back to the line of scrimmage. Sonny Salas first in on the stop. The Mounties have 407 total yards of offense thus far through 44 plays. 339 of those are through the air. Only 67 yards rushing thus far for a team that averages 194 on the ground per game this season. Third down and 11. Najarro faces pressure. The Dons rush 5. He tries to step up, gets past the first wave of defenders, crosses the first down marker, and is out of bounds at the 26. Najarro shows good speed when he decides to take off and run. That time, no one spying the quarterback. Dons do like to run a man coverage on the back end. And that time it cost. As Najarro able to scramble for a first down for the Mounties. They make a couple substitutions. Dons don't want to counter with any substitutions of their own. Najarro has a fullback to the right of the formation. Fakes the handoff to Sly, airs it out deep for his receiver on the far side. Batted away and batted into the hands of Jonas Cerezo. That's Jacob Gadsden, actually, who makes the interception in the end zone, and it's a touchback. What a play there by Gadsden. He was trailing by half a step, if that, tipped it, and after the initial tip, it popped up straight up into the air. His receiver continued running. Gadsden sort of slid down to a knee to make the catch. Just like that, the Dons get it back. It's their first turnover on the evening. Pretty impressive play there. First down and 10, two backs in the backfield. Chinchilla, the deep back. Gill, play action. Pressure in his face, gets past the first defender, but not going to get past the second and the third. More pressure being applied by the Mounties. Backs the Dons up. Taven Bean, one of the first members to get there, along with Blake Thompson. Fabricio Ramirez checks into the game. He's the receiver at the top of your screen. Shaw and Moss also to that side. Chinchilla gets the handoff. Barrels ahead to the 19, short of the original line of scrimmage. Second down. No, third down and 11 coming up. Ramirez checks out. Freshman from Savannah High School. Damian Gomez checks back in. Third and long, the Dons are 3 of 13 in third down attempts this evening. They constantly find themselves in third and long situations like this. Shaw in the backfield to Gill's right. Gill relays a message to both his receivers to switch sides, and now it's going to force head coach Simon Fuentes to take a timeout. All sorts of confusion there. Neither receiver able to line up in the right spot, and with that timeout, we'll take a timeout ourselves here on the Santa Ana College Athletics YouTube channel. Third down and 11 coming up for the Dons. 3:22 remain in the third quarter. My name is Noah Alvarez. Thanks for tuning in to Dons Football on the Santa Ana College Athletics YouTube channel. Some score updates. Long Beach City College still leads Citrus 24-21. And Moore Park up big on Santa Barbara City 33-0. Gill drops back to pass, wants to air it out deep. Has a lot of room in front of him to the left side. Lots of green grass. He's pushed out of bounds at the 26. Not enough for a first down. Fourth, about 4 coming up. The Dons do run out their punt unit. We haven't seen any fake punts this year. Last year, that was sort of a staple for the Dons. Last 2 years, really. They're really creative as far as getting players involved on the fake punts. We saw one of the upbacks, Owen Gray, make a few plays on special team trick plays. Clean snap to Riker Scott. Hits this one end over end. Fair caught at the Mount SAC 43-yard line. Again, things do get easier for the Dons. Their next 4 opponents have a combined record of 7-13. 5 of those wins come from Ventura College. Currently ranked the number 3 team in the state. But Long Beach City College only has 1 win on the year. Santa Barbara City still winless. Moore Park only has 1 win as well. So a chance for the Dons to pick up some wins towards the tail end of the season. A tough start to conference play. Screen pass out here to the near side. Gets past the 40 into Dons territory and is brought down at the 35. Pass caught by Casey Olds. First down and 10. Mount SAC already in the Dons territory. Najarro still the quarterback. Another quick pass to Olds. Crosses the 30. Nearly stumbles on his own feet. Gets enough for a first down at the 23. Back-to-back catches, his first 2 on the season. Nothing fancy, just some quick screen passes for the slot receiver. Olds is out there with Jaden Nolan and Chase Frazier on the near side. Slide the deep back. 3 straight passes to Old. The Dons do close in on him quickly, and he loses the ball this time. The ball is on the turf, scooped up by the Dons, and down at the 17. Jesse Vargas there to recover the fumble. Another turnover created by the Dons defense. We'll see a new quarterback in for the Dons at the moment. It's no longer Justin Gill, it's Bodie Stafford. One of 4 players for the Dons on the roster from out of state. He hands it off to Chinchilla. Has some room on the left side, slips through another tackle, crosses the 25 and is down at the 27. Second down and short coming up. Bodie Stafford, a native to Spokane, Washington. 4 of 11 on the year. In pass attempts, 50 yards through the air and 2 interceptions. He got some playing time in that game against Chaffey College when Nate Bento was knocked out of the game. They do give it a last run to Chinchilla, enough for a first down. Dons move the chains, first down and 10 for Stafford. Back-to-back handoffs for Chinchilla. He scoots ahead to the 32. About a half a second differential between the game clock and play clock. So the Dons will have to get another snap off before the end of the quarter. Stafford spent last season as a Golden West College member of the football team. Did not play in any games or record any stats. Transferred to Santa Ana College in the offseason. Second down and 5. Two backs in the backfield. This time it's a handoff to Shaw, who cuts back to the right, does get to the 35, gain of 2. And that'll take us to the end of the third quarter. My name is Noah Alvarez. Thanks for tuning in to Don's Football here on the Santa Ana College Athletics YouTube channel. Final 15 minutes of action when we return.
People always ask us, what's a Don? And our response is easy. To us, a Don is someone who embraces the grind. A Don is a person that brings passion. Someone who takes advantage of all their opportunities. A leader, a dreamer, a winner. The question we have for you is, are you ready to be a Don?
Final 15 minutes here at Eddie West Field. Mount SAC leads the Dons 45-0. Stafford still into the game as the quarterback. Chinchilla the deep back. Handoff to Shaw. He cuts back to the left side. Lots of room as he crosses the 40 and gets to the 44. They mark him down at the 43. Forward progress stopped. They say now he's in 42. Shaw was a member of the 2021 team. Was a fantastic receiver in the Dons offense that season. Dons have a few backups in on their offensive set as well. Chinchilla up the middle, doesn't get back to the line of scrimmage. They'll say no gain on the play. In at receiver, we're seeing the first of Julian Soltero this season. And out wide is Drake Dalmas, listed as a tight end. 2 new substitutions for the Dons as they pulled their starters. Dalmas on the top of your screen. Soltero on the bottom. Shaw and Chinchilla both in the backfield. Meek attached to the left side of the formation. Stafford, quick pass. First completion to Shaw. He gets to the 48-yard line. Third down and short coming up for the Dons. Shaw a bit slow to get up. His center, Mitchell Jones, tries to help him. And Shaw's going to stay down on the turf. So another injured Don. We hope Arthur Shaw is okay during this break in the action. We'll get you the scores or the upcoming schedule for the Dons. After this week, they'll travel to Long Beach City College. They'll play at Memorial Stadium against the Vikings. Kickoff set at 3 p.m. That's on Saturday, October 18th. On the 25th, they'll host Ventura College, the number 3 ranked team in the state of California. Kickoff at 1 p.m. That's the Dons' lone 1 p.m. kickoff this season. And on November, they'll be on the road the first 2 weeks. Moore Park on November 1st and at Santa Barbara City College on November 8th. Those are the final 4 games on the season for the Dons. Things have not gone their way. It's their first year in the National Division. They're off to an 0-5 start and are going to drop to 0-6 after this one concludes. We mentioned the bright spots. Some talented young freshmen have made plays time and time again, whether it was on defense, offense, and even special teams. Deacon Moss, Wallace Filemu, Amari Bucci, and a few others. Arthur Shaw able to limp off the field under his own power. Again, Shaw was a member of the 2021 team, recorded 56 catches, 10 total touchdowns. Only played 2 games in 2022, missed the rest of the year due to an injury. Talented player from Fullerton High School. 3rd down and 4. The yard to gain is the Mount SAC 48. Stafford with Chinchilla. There's movement up front. Throws it quickly to Beatty. Beatty takes the shot up high, and that might be another flag. No flag comes thrown at the tail end of the play, but it is an offsides on Mount SAC. 5-yard penalty, and that'll move the chains. 1st down for the Dons offense. Justin Gill might be finished for the evening. And if he is, he's 9 of 19 through the air. 127 passing yards. However, no interceptions. Wasn't asked to throw a whole lot, but did make some smarter decisions than he has had in the past. 2 receivers to each side of the formation. Stafford hands it off to Chinchilla off the left guard. Fights to the 47. Twelve and a half minutes left to go in this one. Gomez, Downen, and Soltero to the right of the formation. Beatty, the lone receiver, on the left side. A go ball thrown for Beatty. Incomplete pass. Blake Hiley, the man in coverage. Hiley is a bounce back from the University of Buffalo. Third down and 9 coming up for Stafford and the Dons offense. Moss back into the game. He's a receiver to the top of your screen. Long throw for Gomez. Stafford can't connect with the sophomore receiver. The Dons are going to elect to send out the punt unit despite being down 45. Casey Old stands at his own 15-yard line. It's a fake punt. Riker Scott completes the pass to his up back, and he does get enough as he's chopped down at the 37. So there's that fake punt design that we've been talking about. The last 2 years, we've seen plenty of those here at Eddie West Field. Is that 11? That's Abraham Tolliver who made the catch. A defensive lineman in the punt formation. He now limps off the field. So Riker Scott, 1 for 1 on the year in pass attempts. He moves the chains for the Dons. 11 and a half minutes left to go. First 4th down conversion of the evening. Another handoff for Chinchilla. He fights through a couple arm tackles, brought down at the 29 of Mount SAC. Sophomore back still running hard, now leads the team with 32 yards on the ground. Brandon Duran exited the game with 24 yards on 11 carries. Second down and 3. A quick pass to the receiver, Dalmas. He catches the quick slant. Is brought down at the 17. Stafford gets his second completion on the evening. 2 for 4 through the air. J.P. Ruiz, a freshman from Brea Olinda, checks into the game now. He's a receiver in between Moss and Damas on the near side of your screen, on the near hash. Handoff to Chinchilla. He lowers the shoulder. Gets to the 16. Soltero comes back into the game for the Dons as they huddle up. 9:40 left to go in the fourth quarter. See if head coach Simon Fuentes and the Dons coaching staff can punch it in. Dons are in the red zone. For the second time this evening, they had their first trip back at the tail end of the first half. Had a field goal blocked. Less than 30 seconds left to go in the first half. Pitch and catch to Downen. The freshman from Lakewood makes the catch and is brought down at the 7-yard line. It's enough for a first down. First and goal for the Dons coming up. Mount SAC hoping to hang on to the shutout. 3 receivers to the left of formation. Stafford gives way to Chinchilla. Met at the line of scrimmage. No room to go that time. Penetration and tackle there made by Maynard Morales, sophomore from Van Nuys. Second down and goal from the 6-yard line. The Dons have put up points in each of their games this year. Their lowest scoring affair was the 38-9 loss at Chaffey College. That was when Nate Bento was injured during the game and didn't finish the game. Both Gill and Stafford received some snaps in that Week 2 matchup. A fade ball thrown to Downen. Downen stopped on his route. Man in coverage is Kanye Childress. Third down and goal. Mount SAC, on the other hand, hasn't shut out an opponent this year. They did give up 12 points to Moore Park College back on September 27th. Lowest point total they've allowed this season. Third and goal. Clock stops at 7:54. Moss is in the backfield. Motions to the right side as a slot. They get it to Moss in the flats, and he's caught from behind in the backfield at the 12-yard line. A negative play there by the Dons offense. Snuffed out by Cole Taylor. The Dons offense stays huddled up for this fourth down. Fourth and goal from their Mount SAC 13. Malachi Beatty checks back into the game. No one ran off, so right now, Dons do have 12 players in the huddle. Beatty comes off the field. And head coach Simon Fuentes is going to take a timeout to avoid the penalty. A few times we've seen that as there's just confusion on who's to be on the field. Some things that the Dons have to clean up. 7:09, clock stops here in the fourth quarter. Mount SAC leads 45-0. My name is Noah Alvarez. Thanks for tuning in wherever you may be tuning in from. 4 more games remain for the Dons. 3 of the 4 are on the road, but 3 of those 4 are against lesser opponents in the division. They have a combined record of 7-13. Ventura is really the only challenge remaining for the Dons on the schedule. On October 27th, they host Ventura College here at Eddie West Field. Correction, October 25th is when the Ventura Pirates come to town. They're the number 3 ranked team in the state of California, and they defeated Allen Hancock earlier this afternoon. We'll see if there's a score update from Long Beach City, as they were up on Citrus College last we checked. in the third quarter. They're currently up by 10, Long Beach over Citrus College, 31-21, with 5 minutes left to go in the third quarter. 3 receivers to the right of the formation. Beatty by himself on this fourth down and goal. From the 13-yard line, not able to get a good throw off as Stafford had pressure in his face. Blake Thompson applied the pressure. A turnover on downs. The Dons are now 0 for 2 in red zone chances this evening. Tough sledding for first-year head coach Simon Fuentes and offensive coordinator Fred Romo. Not a whole lot of play calls for fourth and goal from the 13. That drive was kept alive on the fourth down conversion by Riker Scott, the punter. Trick play on the punt. Now we'll see the Mounties offense, maybe for the last time this evening. Najarro hands it off to his running back, Amino, met by Caden Thomas. Thomas has put together a solid performance at the linebacker position. He lies down on the turf, appears to be in some pain, and there's another injured Dons player. It's been that kind of season for the Dons. Through those first couple of weeks, they suffered a lot of injuries to players like Nate Bento, Ethan Frazier, as well as a few members of their offensive line. Malik Pia missed a game. Andrew Maapasi also missed a couple of games. There's still a couple offensive linemen out, and a few players out for the rest of the season. While we have this player down, we'll cut to a commercial break and come back with the action after this.
This is it.
Have a good first day.
You too, Mom.
Everyone's journey looks a little different at Santa Ana College, whether you're just starting out or starting a new chapter. With flexible classes, valuable student services, and a range of degrees and certificate programs, students of all kinds can find inspiration and empowerment at Santa Ana College. Start your journey at Santa Ana College. Where it leads is up to you.
Second down and 9 coming up for the Mounties offense. Najarro back in at quarterback. Tight end to the left of the formation. Another handoff for Gamino. Met by Jesse Vargas. Just across the 15-yard line. Small gain. Gain of 1 on the play. We're seeing Julian Singwanmani in at the defensive line position right now for the Dons, alongside Elijah Magana. Sonny Salas, the defensive end on the far side. Abraham Tolliver on the near side. Third down and 7. Najarro elects to tuck it and run over to the right side. Tries to hurdle a defender and gets upended at the 27. It's enough for a first down. Acrobatic play there by Najarro. He's lucky not to get hurt on that one. 5.5 minutes left to go in this one. Live from Eddie West Field. Gamino in the backfield, the sophomore from Rigby, Idaho. 3 receivers flanked out to the left. Quarterback looks right. Pitch and catch. Pushed out of bounds by Caleb Grant, and there's a flag in the backfield. The Dons think it's a holding or on the Mounties offensive line. Salas comes out. So it's a roughing the passer penalty on the Dons defense, and that's why Sonny Salas checks out of the match. Riker Scott comes back in. As far as penalty goes, it's the 7th penalty on the Dons thus far. 6 penalties on Mount SAC in the evening. The Dons have nearly doubled up the Mounties' time of possession, but it hasn't mattered. They're currently down 45-0. Another handoff for Gamino. He gets past the first tackler of Bagdanoff, chopped down by Vargas at the 37. The Mounties get back into Don's territory. Casey Olds, slot receiver on the top of your screen on the far hash. Camino gets tripped up just past the line of scrimmage at the 34. Gain of 2 on the play. 2nd down and 8 coming up. Dons make a few substitutions defensively. Porter Nix back into the game along with Mario Evans and Malik Pia and Riker Scott. 4 down defensive linemen. Caden Thomas and Gabriel Bagdanoff in at linebacker. Another quick pass to Olds. He has some blocking in front of him. Olds is chopped down at the 29. 3-yard gain. 3rd and short coming up. Mounties have gotten some solid blocking from their outside receivers for much of the evening. That's what allows those screen plays to happen and allows them to pick up positive yardage. First we're seeing of Rayshon Joseph in the backfield. Final 3 minutes. 3rd down and 4. The Dons do bring pressure. Najarro decides to step up, gets enough for the 1st down across the 20, and he's going to walk into the end zone untouched. The quarterback design draw as he sneaks his way into the end zone. 2:50 left to go. Mounties lead 51-0 pending the extra point. Gutierrez able to punch this extra point through. Now a 52-0 deficit the Dons are facing. 2:50 left to go in this 4th quarter. Thanks again for tuning in to Dons Football here on the Santa Ana College Athletics YouTube channel. One more player runs on for the Dons kickoff return unit as they were down a man. Gutierrez has this one lined up. Ready to boot this one away on the 35. Gomez and Shaw back deep to return. Chance for Shaw on the near side, takes it at the 8. Past the 20. Down towards the near sideline, lowers his shoulder, upended at the 32. We'll see where they officially spot the ball. An offside penalty on the Mount SAC kickoff unit, and the Dons elect to add it to the end of the run. So the ball is spotted at the 38-yard line. Final 2 minutes and 44 seconds of action here from Eddie West Field. A few more players in on the Dons offensive line. Adam DeKeely in at left tackle. Seeing Max Ramshaw at left guard. Robert Gutierrez, the man in motion who runs over to the right side of the formation. A handoff to Saltero. We saw him line up at receiver earlier in the match. Jalen Borges checks in at the right tackle. Shane Pufford also in at the right guard position. Gutierrez now checks out for the Dons huddle. They don't have to snap the ball before the 2-minute timeout. About a 2-second differential. So they can stay huddled until the 2-minute warning. We'll cut to another commercial break and come back with the action after this.
People always ask us, what's a Don? And our response is easy. To us, a Don is someone who embraces the grind. A Don is a person that brings passion. Someone who takes advantage of all their opportunities. A leader, a dreamer, a winner. The question we have for you is, are you ready to be a Don?
It's another handoff to the backup running back. He gets all the way to the 45. Good push by the backup offensive lineman. It is Abraham Sanchez in at the running back position. Sanchez is a freshman running back from Estancia. First carries on the season. Sanchez gets it off the right guard. Good push from that side of the line. Daniel Granados in at the right guard position. In at right tackle, Jalen Borges. Shane Puffert in at center. The offensive line unit for the final minute of action. About a 25-second differential. This should be the last play unless the Dons elect to run one more. Stafford wants to air it out deep, finds his receiver across the 40 into Mount SAC territory. Forward progress stopped at the 38. Catch made by the tight end, Drake Dalmas. Final 20 seconds. The Dons do break the huddle quickly, as they will try and get into their playoff. The final play from Eddie West Field. 8 seconds left on the play clock. Another handoff to Sanchez. No, Stafford keeps it. He's out on the left side. Stiff arms the defender and is brought down at the 36. Some noise from the Don sideline. But that'll mark the end of today's contest. Mount SAC comes out victorious by a final score of 52-0. The Mounties advance to 5-1 on the season, 2-1 in conference play, while the Dons drop to 0-6. They're now 0-3 in conference play. Next time you can catch the Dons will be here at Eddie West Field on October 25th, 2 weeks from now, as they'll host Ventura College, which is the number 3 team ranked in the state of California at the moment. Kickoff is set at 1 p.m. It's the only 1 p.m. kickoff this season for the Dons here at Eddie West Field. The other 3 matches are on the road as the Dons close out 3 of their next 4 on the road. At Long Beach City College, at Moore Park, and then at Santa Barbara City College. For Sal and Cammie, my name is Noah Alvarez, saying thanks for tuning in to Dons Football here on the Santa Ana College Athletics YouTube channel. Until next time.